Should she go back with him? Madeline lifted the corner of her lips into a smile and answered sweetly, "Okay." After she finished speaking, she turned her head and looked at Meredith. At this moment, Meredith's face was as black as charcoal and her lips were tightly pressed together. She was so pissed that she almost crushed her teeth. However, it was her contradictory appearance that made Madeline feel pleased the most. She was on the brink of explosion, yet she did not want to spoil her image of a gentle and loving woman. Madeline saw Jeremy walking toward Meredith. He was definitely going to comfort this two-faced bitch. From a distance, Madeline saw Meredith holding her child while getting close to Jeremy with a pitiful look.
"Jeremy, I'm so afraid that Maddie will harm me and my child again. She has been in jail for 3 years, and she seems even more unhinged now,"
Meredith complained to Jeremy.
"Jeremy, you didn't forget what you promised me when we were kids, right? You said you'd take me as your bride and protect me forever."
Madeline thought she would no longer care if Jeremy got close to another woman, but just seeing them talking at such close proximity made Madeline feel as if someone was crushing her heart. She almost could not breathe. However, she did not believe that this was love. This was pure hatred. She hated the couple. They killed her daughter in such a selfish and cruel manner, but they were still so happy and carefree. Madeline did not wait for Jeremy to return. She called a cab on the other side of the road and left without turning back. Not long after, Madeline received a call from Jeremy. Although she had changed her phone and did not save his number, the numbers that she had already memorized deep in her heart felt like needles pricking her eyes. Madeline did not answer, and Jeremy made a total of 3 calls. Madeline just watched the screen light up before turning gray once more. She was sitting in the taxi, and it was as if she was seeing her life lighting up and darkening in the past few years. Finally, she plunged into a life of total darkness. How many times had she naively expected that he would like and care about her, even if it was just a little bit? The disappointment that she gathered finally piled up into a mountain of despair. Madeline placed her hands where her heart was. The feeling of heartache was still strong. "But Jeremy, this is no longer my love for you. Instead, it's hatred." Madeline continued looking for a job, but she would hit the wall again and again. If this continued, her life would be over. Madeline talked to Ava and told her that she wanted to leave Glendale to go to another city to start a new life. Otherwise, she would never have the opportunity to avenge her daughter. In order to seek revenge, she had to make herself stronger. Ava told Madeline that no matter what she did, she would support her. Ava even took out her savings over the past few years and gave all of them to Madeline. Madeline refused. No one in this world got their money for free. She packed light and booked a high-speed rail ticket to the next city. As soon as she went out with her suitcase, she saw a familiar car stopping in front of her. Jeremy got out of the car coolly. When he saw that Madeline was about to leave, he stepped forward in a chilling manner.
"Where are you going, Mrs. Whitman?"
Madeline's heartbeat suddenly quickened. She squeezed the handle of her suitcase and gave him a fake, calm smile. "It's better to ask that shameless mistress what she did to cause me, the lawfully wedded wife, to not be able to have a proper meal." The expression in Jeremy's eyes changed slightly. Suddenly he reached out his hand and pulled Madeline into the car. It would be a lie to say that she was not afraid, especially when his skin touched hers. She trembled at that warm touch. Madeline struggled immediately. "Jeremy, what are you doing? Let go of me!" Jeremy's grip on her was strong, and despite Madeline struggling to escape, she was still forced into the car. Madeline did not know when he stopped thinking that she would dirty his car. He was even letting her sit in the passenger seat now. The sky suddenly became gloomy. Soon it was accompanied by strong wind and heavy rain. Madeline's mood started to take a hit. Whenever it rained heavily, she would think of the night when she was induced to give birth. In the narrow carriage, the fear in her heart was indefinitely magnified. She did not want to look back on that dark night, that bloody night that separated her and her daughter.
"Jeremy, where are you taking me? Are you planning to kill me as well because I refuse to divorce you? I won't let you succeed again."
Madeline lost control of her emotions, and she even tried to open the car door. She could not die. She had not avenged her daughter yet. Jeremy quickly locked the door and slammed the brakes.
"Madeline, are you insane?"
He furrowed his eyebrows and dragged Madeline over to him. His handsome face was covered with a layer of frost. Madeline stared at him with scarlet eyes.
Yes, I'm insane. I was crazy a very long time ago. Otherwise, how could I fall in love with a scumbag who would kill his own flesh and blood like you?
She gritted her teeth. When she said this, her heart was in severe pain. How cold-blooded could a person be to be able to do such a heartless thing? Yet, he did it. Jeremy looked at Madeline's tearful face, and for a moment, he was struck in a daze. After a while, he returned to his senses. His eyes were locked on Madeline's face.
Were you really pregnant 3 years ago?
Madeline scoffed and laughed as if she had just heard a big joke. Tears fell from her eyes. A few seconds later, she displayed a sarcastic smile.
Mr. Whitman, you're so forgetful. If you don't remember, I can remind you again. At first, you were sure that I pushed Meredith and caused her to have a miscarriage. What did you say to me in the meeting room when I was holding your trousers and begging you?
Madeline's misty and teary eyes met Jeremy's dispirited ones.
You kicked me away and told me, then you should bury that bastard child in your stomach along with Meredith's child.
She repeated what he said at the time. Jeremy's pupils shrank. He was inexplicably shocked when he saw Madeline's face that was between laughter and tears.
Jeremy, you did it. You buried our child with Meredith's bastard child that she had with someone else. Have you ever thought that even if I am really so unbearable and disgusting to you, that the child is innocent? She was your own flesh and blood.
Madeline was having a complete emotional breakdown. She yelled hysterically at the silent man, each and every word piercing her flesh and bones.
Jeremy, wasn't that punishment enough? Then what about these?
As Madeline spoke, she removed her coat and started peeling off her clothes one by one in front of him. She went all out and showed her most unbearable side before him. Although Jeremy did not bother to look at Madeline every time he tortured her, he could remember that her skin was fair, tender, and smooth. There were almost no flaws or defects on her body. However, dark marks were growing all over her body so obtrusively now as if to describe the severe beatings and punishments she had suffered. Jeremy could feel a vein popping on his temple suddenly, and his eyebrows were furrowed together deeply. He stared intensely at Madeline. Then he gradually loosened his hands that were tightly holding Madeline's shoulders.
Do you see them? Mr. Whitman, thank you for your concern. You allowed me to live such a fulfilling life every day during my over 1,000 days in prison.
Madeline smiled bitterly, her hot tears falling on the back of Jeremy's hand. His slender fingers trembled slightly. He never knew that tears could be so hot. The rain was getting heavier and heavier, and Madeline heard the sound of the wiper wiping against the windshield. The air around her body seemed to quiet down suddenly. Madeline wiped away her tears, the look in her eyes becoming calmer all of a sudden. Jeremy, if I could do it all over again, I would rather that I never met you. After hearing Madeline's words, Jeremy seemed to come back to his senses. He stared at her with his bottomless eyes.
Madeline, you have no choice. You've become my wife, and you'll never be able to change this fact in this lifetime.
Madeline sneered sarcastically.
Oh, really?
Mr. Whitman, you're saying that you'll never divorce me in this lifetime? What about your little Miss Two-Faced? Are you not afraid that she'd be so sad that she'll try to commit suicide after hearing this? Seeing Madeline's tearful and mocking smile, Jeremy's thin lips moved. However, in the end, he did not say anything. He merely stepped on the accelerator. Madeline cried and fell asleep unknowingly. When she woke up, she found herself lying on the bed she used to sleep in. Jeremy had brought her back to the house she stayed in before. Madeline was a little surprised. The layout and decorations of the place had not changed at all. However, when she thought that maybe Meredith would make love to Jeremy in this bed every night, Madeline felt so sick that she started having stomach cramps instantly. She ran into the bathroom and vomited, but nothing came out. It was already dark, and she had slept for the whole day. She did not have anything to eat either. She lifted her eyes to look at herself in the mirror. Her haggard face and red eyes reminded her of the time she screamed at Jeremy in her most battered state. At this moment, her phone rang, and it was from Daniel. Madeline hesitated for a moment before picking up. Daniel was very worried about her current situation. Madeline felt warm, but she did not know how to repay Daniel apart from thanking him profusely. Knock, knock. Madeline's body shuddered reflexively when she heard a sudden knocking on the door. She hung up the phone after saying goodbye to Daniel. The door opened and a middle-aged woman came in. She greeted Madeline respectfully. "Ma'am, dinner is ready. Do you want to eat now?" Madeline was a little surprised, but when she recalled the time Jeremy ordered someone to put drugs that would cause her to miscarry into her soup after she fainted, she absolutely refused to eat anything this time. "I'm not eating. I'm leaving immediately," she said coldly and got up. The maid frowned awkwardly. "But Mr. Whitman said—"
"Mrs. Hughes, where are you? Where the hell are all of you?"
Just as Madeline was about to leave, Meredith's impatient screech came from the stairs. Mrs. Hughes' expression changed, and she turned around quickly. She seemed to have suffered a lot from Meredith's wrath. At this moment, Meredith had already walked to the door of the room.
"Miss Crawford, why are you here?"
Mrs. Hughes said while trembling. At the same time, Madeline was surprised at what she called Meredith. She actually felt a little pleased. Meredith had caused so much trouble while she was by Jeremy's side for so many years, and still, she was just Miss Crawford. Although Jeremy resented her and treated her badly, she was still Mrs. Whitman after all. Madeline smiled when she thought about this. Meredith walked over. When she saw Madeline standing next to the bed while chuckling softly, her face changed drastically as she pointed at Madeline angrily. She cursed.
"Madeline? Why are you here, you bitch? Who let you in?"